When I was in high school, I didn't want to go to college. The problem for me was that I just didn't know what my options were. I didn't know what that looked like. And also, everyone around me was so set on going to college and talked about not going to college like it was this horrible thing. And it's like almost like just deciding not to go to college already meant you were a failure. So I was just really afraid of the unknown. And because of that, I did end up deciding to go to college. So, what was college like for me? In college, I made good friends. I started smoking a ton of weed. I worked at a country club as a banquet server. I gained a lot of confidence as a writer. Now, I went to college in Southern California, right? And so it was a liberal arts college, and there was only, I think, three, four, maybe 5,000 students. For me, it felt like high school again, except that now my family wasn't around, and so I was a little bit more independent, right? But there was a part of me during all of this time that realized like everything I'm doing here, I could be doing without paying so much money and without being in the school, which I didn't like. I could be making good friends. I don't need to be in school to do that. I can be working, whether it's at a country club or somewhere else. I could be working. I don't need to be in school to be working. I can gain confidence as a writer. I could take workshops. I can join writing groups. I can do plenty of things like that. Nothing was specific to being in school except for the known. And what I mean by that is that I know what school is like, right? And I know what it feels like to have my parents support me. And I know what it feels like to have school decide what the structure of my week and my day and my life is going to look like. I don't know what it's like not to have that in place and to have to build that for myself. So, why I left is a combination of reasons. And they kind of go hand in hand, right? The first one is that I felt like for my whole life, I'd been doing what everybody else wanted me to be doing. And at the same time, I realized, like, man, I haven't really changed. It's been a full year in college, and I'm basically the same immature kid that I was in high school. And school wasn't helping me fix that. So I remember after my first year, I went back home to Mexico, and then I went to visit a couple friends in Mexico City, right? And I saw this duality in my two friend groups. One of them was this like art, film, do drugs kind of group. And the other one was in basically the Mexican version of MIT. Now, one group hadn't really changed at all. And spending about 2 weeks with both of these groups, I just realized, like, man, this seems like the life that I want. And if my friends can be pursuing film in Mexico, there's not a goddamn reason why I can't be pursuing writing in the US. And so I decided, I'm done. I'm sick of my bullshit. I've been sort of depressed for a year. Even though I've been having fun and smoking weed and all these things, I've just kind of been a shell of myself, right? I haven't really been pursuing the meaning that I know my life has. I've just been kind of like, all right, I'm going to coast for a little bit longer. And so after that trip to Mexico City, I decided to drop out. And I didn't ask anyone for permission. I just went ahead and did it. That is how confident I felt about my decision. I put everything in my car and I decided I was going to move to Austin, Texas. I didn't have an apartment. I didn't know anybody in Austin. I didn't have a job. I just had my 2001 Ford Explorer and $2,700 to my name. Now, in the 7 years that I've been here, and the reason this has been the best decision of my life is because I completely turned my life around. So when I was in college, I had an addiction to marijuana. I cheated both in classrooms and also in my relationships with people. I lied a lot. And I didn't really take responsibility for myself, right? My parents were still paying for pretty much everything. And I didn't really have this sort of map, this internal map of myself that I have today. And so in the 7 years that I've been in Austin, I've learned how to live a sober life. I wrote 10 books I've worked in over 20 different food trucks and learned different skills at every single one of them, right? I've been in positions of leadership, of management. I've learned how to make amazing smoothies and juices and healthy food and Thai recipes and just this whole world that I didn't really know, right? My whole life growing up from when I was born to 18, the only thing I cooked for myself were scrambled eggs or putting frozen pizzas in the oven. Today I'm doing meal prep. I'm, actually paying attention to what I put in my body. If I start to feel that my immune system is compromised, I'll start drinking more green juices and just taking better care of myself physically and mentally. I started my podcast and this YouTube channel. I learned some self-defense and practiced mixed martial arts for a couple years. And really the thing that I want to emphasize and the thing that has been the most important of these past 7 years that it's not that it's not possible, it's just that being in school and not having experienced anything else before going to school, it just kept me sort of in a bubble, right? It's not that you can't do all of these things when you're in school. It's just that if you don't know about any of these things and then you jump right into school, like into college, I was like that I just have time for this. I'm not gonna, like, right? I've got friends, I've got homework, I've got class, like that's pretty much, and I've got a part-time job, right? So where is there going to be time for me to think about, like, oh, what is MMA and can I do that, and what is juicing? It's like I didn't even have a kitchen. I had a mini fridge that I would store 6 packs of Coca-Cola and freeze my Oreos. But the thing that leaving college allowed me to do was to develop that inner world, that map of my inner world, and start my healing journey. As much as I hate that phrase, it's really what it's been, right? Like I mentioned that I used to cheat, I used to lie, I used to just only care about how my decisions impacted me. And so I went to therapy and I did psychedelic medicine and, healed that part of myself that didn't know how else to express himself. And, before leaving college, I was just so opposed to the idea of financial security and just taking care of myself, right? I was in this mindset of like, man, I just want to live a wild life and have a good story to tell. And nowadays, I go for an hour-long nature walk pretty much every day. I meditate for almost an hour every single day. My way of interacting with the world is just complete 180. And I have this newfound confidence in myself, right? Because I didn't know what the hell I was going to do when I left college, right? I just decided I'm going to move to Austin. I've got almost $3,000 and a car. So I figure that'll give me enough time to figure shit out. And it's like successfully doing that has developed some confidence for me, and quitting jobs and then not having a job and just being like, all right, I've got to find another job and then find another job. It's like I've had to start over so many times that it's like, oh, this is what life is. You try something and then sometimes you fail and you learn a lesson and then you try again, but you're a little bit better next time. College didn't have any of that for me. College was just go to class, pretend that you give a shit about your socialism class or your social studies or whatever the fuck. Go to your dorm, smoke weed, hiding, right? Because you're not allowed to. And then just be a 19-year-old hormonal kid that just wants to fuck everything he sees, but doesn't know how to talk to women, doesn't know how to make friends, is just kind of like moving through the world alone. And so again, I just want to emphasize that I'm not telling you if you're in college or if you're thinking about going to college, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying drop out. I'm just sharing my story, because if I had heard this when I was thinking about going to college, it might have given me that extra boost of confidence or just taught me, like, there is more to life than what your teachers and your parents might be telling you. And taking a risk, it sounds scary, but for me, it's been the biggest payoff in my whole life. So hopefully this helped or touched you in some way. If it did, or if you have something else that you're struggling with, or any questions maybe that you have about this, leave a comment below. And who knows, maybe that could be my next video. All right, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.